The next panelist is Howie Chosit. Howie, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
PhD, CTO and founder, Cardio Robotics. Howie is CTO and founder of Cardio Robotics and is a professor at Carnegie Mellon University's Robotics Institute. His research includes, is this snake boots? You see, I'm also a member of the Hunters Caucus. Demining and coverage. In 2002, Howie was named as one of the world's 100 top young innovators by MIT's Technology Review. And today, Howie will cover same-day surgery. I did a lot of that in my days. The future of medical robotic technology interventions, and also talk about the challenges with starting a medical robotics company. Welcome, Howard. Last but certainly not least, Charles Rimsberg. Charles is CEO of the Hocoma Incorporated company. That company is the leader in robotic rehabilitation therapy for neurologic movement disorders. That's what my dad had after that heart attack and stroke. Prior to this role, he was responsible for worldwide sales and marketing for Hocoma, as well as an early investor in the company. That was a smart move.
So far, so good.
Charles was also instrumental in the development of Biodex Medical Systems, a market leader for physical medicine and rehabilitation devices, holding several senior management roles. He serves as a board member for the Swiss American Chamber of Commerce in Boston. Today, Charles will present on robotics in rehabilitation medicine. I present to you this outstanding panel, and I'm off to the next meeting. So it's been great to be with you today. Thank you. Thank you all very much.
I want to thank Congressman Gingrey as well as Congressman Dole. It is indeed an honor and a pleasure to be here. I can think of no more significant time to talk about robotics with regards to healthcare than at this particular time that we face with the discussion that's ongoing. As you already heard, in fact, there may not be that much I can add to Congressman Gingrey's already elaborate presentation about the opportunities that we have, the costs that we face as far as healthcare goes, and how we can address this. But I will try to take you through some of the details that I've collected, and I've been flanked by some very excellent presenters who will go into more detail of how this technology can be applied. First of all, let's reflect on the fact that over 25% of our population in the U.S. suffers from some form of severe limitation that affect their normal lifestyle. That's very significant. It's a very significant part of our population. Let's talk about some of the contributing factors or some of the things that are evidence of that. The first I'd like to focus on is just autism. The autism, as you may already know, is a lifelong incurable disorder. Over 1.5 million Americans are afflicted with this. That's 1 in 150 children are diagnosed with ASD. And in fact, in just every day, think about it, there are over 67 children that will be diagnosed with this disease. It is the fastest growing developmental disability that we have and is growing at a significantly rapid rate. It's already quadrupled in the last 25 years, and that's not just because we have better diagnostics. It is a significant cost in our world. You can see here that the cost of caring for a single child can range in the millions of dollars, and that in the annual cost in the U.S. is well over $90 billion, and that it's expected to triple or quadruple in the next 10 to 15 years. The good news is that the costs that we face can be reduced by over 2/3 by early diagnosis and by intervention techniques. And there'll be more to say about this later. Let's look at another situation. Here's a gentleman that may be representative of a number of the stroke victims that we have. Either that or he's worried about whether he's going to get good health care coverage. There are over 6.5 million people in the U.S. today who have had a stroke. Almost 800,000 of them every year experience a stroke. That's at a rate of about every 40 seconds that we have someone new with a stroke. And the unfortunate thing is that over 50% of them suffer some major permanent disability. The costs are significant for this kind of condition. It's for the mean cost is $140,000 over the lifetime of a person. And if we add it all together, we're faced with the cost of over $69 billion in direct and indirect costs. And by the year 2050, it's going to get even more significant. It's projected to be $2.2 trillion in terms of the cost that it will take. The good news here is that stroke is survivable. In fact, about 75% of citizens actually do recover. However, that's really dependent upon early diagnosis and quick treatment. Getting them into the healthcare providers, getting a quick assessment is absolutely crucial. And so connecting these victims with their healthcare providers is absolutely critical. Physical activity, both before strokes as well as after strokes, significantly contribute to lessening the impact of this condition. Another situation that I'd like to mention quickly is Alzheimer's disease, which is the most common form of dementia. Alzheimer's inflicts both already 5.3 million people in the U.S., and there's a new case every 70 seconds. Projected at this rate by the year 2030, that 1.7 million, as you can see by the slide. By 2050, over 16 million people on the planet with this condition. These folks are high users of our healthcare system and total already $148 billion of annual costs, and you can see the breakdown in what some of those costs are, not just to our system, but to the individual as well. Country alone, we are faced with over 40 million Americans that are over the age of 65. That is over 13% of our population. In the rest of the world, this number is actually greater. In countries like Japan, Italy, and Germany, the numbers are already rising to over 20%. One of the significant contributing factors to this growth is the number of senior citizens who will be moving into this category. That is the baby boomer generation, who will be in the next 2 years moving into this category. They will lift as you see, they will lift the numbers and change the very even pyramid that we've had over time to a very uneven one, which almost becomes top-heavy at the end. So that we'll have over 71 million people by the year 2030, and 89 million by the year 2050. The fastest growing segment of this community is the individuals who are over 85. The good news is we will have a lot of senior citizens, and that we will be living longer, and that our healthcare system has allowed us to do this. But it presents an increasing challenge for us.